Long-term effects of living with the internet by Behram Mousavi, Nick Najavizadeh, and Amal Prakash. First, a brief history of the internet. It started in the 1960s as ARPANET, the predecessor to the internet. In 1990, the World Wide Web, or WWW, was created, which greatly facilitated its expansion. After websites like Google.com, Twitter.com, and MySpace.com were created in the 90s and 2000s, the internet exploded in popularity. Today, the internet is a fundamental part of many people's lives and many businesses. At the moment, people have mixed attitudes of the internet depending on which part of the internet they are looking at. Although some people are next to uninterested in the internet, others have severe addiction to it. Because of the severe addiction some people have, others have developed a bad impression of these addicted people. According to Pew Research Center, a declining number of adults are saying that the internet has been good for society. The internet has various uses. First is information seeking. People use websites like Google.com to find out things they're looking for more information about. Communication. People often use applications such as Discord or Zoom to communicate with each other over the internet. The uses of these apps have increased drastically since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, since most things have become online. Social media. Social media has become a massive part of many people's lives. Websites such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter have gained millions of daily users. The amount of business done online has greatly risen in the 2000s, as shown by the graph below, and it spiked a bit after the pandemic, as you can see. The internet has had a massive effect on children. These are some of the effects the internet has had on them. Increase in obesity. Children are less active from being on the internet a lot, which can lead to an increase in the risk of obesity. Sleep problems. Children can be irresponsible with the internet use and use it until late at night, which can lead to a decreased amount of sleep. Problematic internet use. Children often become addicted to gaming, which can lead to internet gaming disorder, which can sometimes lead to depression. Negative effect on school performance. Children will often spend time using the internet instead of focusing on school, which can lead to a decrease in school performance. Here are some other effects that the internet has on children's health. Risky behaviors. Children sometimes use the internet for things such as substance abuse, sexual behavior, and self injury, and eating disorders, which are all often displayed on social media, most commonly by teenagers. Sexting, privacy, and predators, especially among teenagers, sexting is frequently done. This can be problematic because these photos or videos are often spread, which can lead to predators using them to prey on teenagers. Cyberbullying, often teenagers, but this happens among all kids. They can sometimes do cyberbullying over the internet, which can very negatively affect the child's development. Internet addiction. Internet addiction is a growing phenomenon. There are 5 types. Cybersex addiction. This consists of addiction to adult websites, porn, etc. Net compulsions. This consists of online gambling, online auctions on sites like eBay or online stocks, etc. Online relationship addiction. Addiction to things such as online with dating websites. Compulsive information seeking. The addiction to gathering information from online. Computer gaming addiction. This is also a growing phenomenon. A lot of kids nowadays, and even teenagers and adults, are using computers to play games on them instead of focusing on other real life stuff. Internet addiction and its negative side effects are going to be talked about now. Internet addiction impact on school. Internet addiction among children in elementary school to college has been found to have a negative correlation with school performance and mental health. School performance. People of all ages who have internet addiction often spend their time on the internet doing things like online gaming and social media rather than spending time on school. Mental health. Social media can affect youth's mental health extremely negatively, even at times leading to things such as a mental breakdown or even attempts at suicide. There are several mental health issues associated with the internet addiction. Depression. Internet addiction was found to be linked to things like depression and can can sometimes lead to things like suicide attempts, anxiety. Anxiety, especially social anxiety, was also found to be linked to internet addiction, especially from social media. OCD, OCD, several studies have been done that have found OCD to be linked to internet addiction. Low family relationships. When people have internet addiction, they often just spend their time on the internet instead of having interactions with their families. Internet addiction has social lives. Social lives have been greatly affected by internet addiction. Here are the two things that internet addiction often leads to for social lives. Social isolation. People who are so addicted to the internet would rather stay at home and be online than go out into the real world and socialize with others. Social awkwardness. A lack of socializing with others can lead to people forgetting how to socialize with others. Social isolation and social awkwardness often go hand in hand, both occurring together.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about internet risk. Some of these topics have been discussed during previous slides, but for some of them we're going to talk about more in details and in depth. The most significant problems that may be found in the social networking sites are such as cyberbullying, cyber suicide, cyber racism, internet addiction, online scams, and electronic gambling. Cyberbullying is an aggressive behavior using electronic means. Such behavior can make young people feel lonely, unhappy, and frightened, to feel insecure and think that something is wrong. They lose confidence in themselves and may not want to go back to school or try to find ways to be isolated from their friends. Furthermore, in extreme cases, continuous and intense bullying has led to terrible consequences such as suicide intent. Cyber-suicide describes the suicide or the attempt of suicide, which is influenced by the internet. The cyber-suicide has caught the attention of the scientific community from the time that the recorded incidents of suicide are growing over the internet. It has been suggested that the use of the internet and specifically that the websites about suicide can promote suicide and thereby contribute to increased rates of cyber-suicide. Apart from committing suicide on the internet, there is a case of users who commit this act while they are connected to the internet, committing suicide in the real time via webcam. In response to the above and other similar cases, the issue of the impact of the internet in increasing suicide has begun to be actively discussed. On a particular level, the scientific research regarding the cyber suicide is still in a native stage, and the empirical evidence that the internet has contributed to the increase of suicide is currently minimal. Cyber racism refers to a phenomenon of online racism. The expression of racism on the internet is common and frequent and is increased by the anonymity which is offered by the internet. Racism may be expressed through racist websites, photos, videos, comments, and messages on social networks. Internet addiction is a relatively new form of dependency which is under review by scientific community. Essentially, it refers to increasing number of people who report more and more involvement with the internet to raise the feeling of satisfaction and a systematic increase in the time spent for pumping this feeling. The internet addiction, although not officially recognized as a clinical entity, is a condition that causes significant reduction in social and professional or academic functioning of the individual. Online scams. The internet facilitates electronic transactions every day for millions of people and businesses and arrange their economic works through the net. As a matter of fact, it is necessary that the navigation on websites that include transactions should be performed with extreme caution and with the confidence that they have been taken into account the forthcoming legislation and the insurance transaction regarding personal data. The most common scam is the method of phishing. This is a particularly smart technique for economic deception through revealing both the personal data and in particular information concerning financial transactions. Misled unsuspecting users may disclose personal information to a fake form on the internet. Evidence of the fake victim are double-crossed and used for gaining access to personal data. Electronic gambling. With the term electronic gambling can be identified the activity during which two or more people meet online to exchange bets. Such activity involves the risk of real financial loss or gain. One of the main problems of gambling is loss of money. This can lead to lose one's savings, home, or property, etc. Many people become addicted to the cannot stop thinking that during the next round will get their money back. Therefore, wasting a lot of money can waste considerable time, neglecting existing obligations with all the other ensuing consequences of the addiction. It is found that even the frequent attendance in gambling environments where there is no use of real money can cause addiction. Also, the ease of access to online gambling websites increases the risk of engagement of young adults in such activities. Therefore, it could increase even more in the long term. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the physical problems associated with the use of computers. The ever-increasing use of computers has a negative impact on the health of users, affecting various systems of causing physical and mental problems. Due to these problems, there is a difference on the body functionality of some user systems with consequent changes in their quality of life. The most important of these problems affect the following, such as loss of vision, nervous system, the muscular system, headaches, and lastly, gaining weight. Internet security. Used as a tremendous source of information and services, the internet should filter the bulk of such information so that we would never be accepted without criticism. Some readily provided information seeking valid practices and techniques are listed below, such as search of information sources by using valid techniques, assessment of the information provided, disclosure of information provided for economic benefits, safe management of electronic transactions, and lastly, protection from potential online scams.
So another one of the long-term implications of the internet is the increasing number of the cyber attacks and ransomware attacks, which can usually present themselves through scams on the internet. So one of the most common scams, especially in developing countries such as India, is something known as a sex extortion scam, where people, usually a small group of people, create fake profiles and send friend requests on social media to unassuming people who mistake these fake friend requests for real people interested in dating or like interested in forming a connection with them. And therefore, when they take the next step and let's say they organize a video call or something like that, they usually fall prey to some libelous remarks, which can end up damaging their reputation as in front of their friends and family, especially if they hold positions of high relevance or importance in their career. And this can one example that I can think of, which I recently read about while researching about this, is a 46-year-old man in 2019 was sent a friend request by a woman who seemed interested in getting to know the guy. And once they started chatting, the next step was to, like I said, mentioned before, organize a video call. And once that was done, certain remarks were exchanged in the video call, which could be certain remarks of sexual nature were exchanged in the video call. And the people and the woman, the most manipulative part of this was that the woman in the video was not even a real woman, and yeah, it was a fake profile created using relatively new technology known as deep fake technology, where someone's face can be morphed onto a completely different person, therefore faking their mannerisms and behavior, and also the content of their speech. So through this, the scammers were blackmailed the victim into sending them money around $1,000, and yeah, it just goes to show how such ransomware attacks can easily be conducted, especially with the presence of especially among the aging population in developing countries, where the education regarding such deepfake technologies is still not in an advanced stage. It's still not proliferated in the education system, and especially these aging populations, they have no idea about such technologies existing. And some of the statistics for cybercrime in developing countries such as India is there's been an 11.8% increase from the previous year in 2020. So within 1 year, there's been almost a 12% increase in number of cybercrimes relating to scams and other attacks of the sort. And the rate of cybercrime per 100,000 people has increased by approximately 0.4% from 3.3% in 2019 to 3.7% in 2020. And in 2019 alone, India recorded 44,000 cases of cybercrime, while the number was almost half in the previous year. And this can mainly be explained because of the unprecedented environment and situation created by the coronavirus pandemic, where more people have had to transition their business online, and there more people are spending time online. Therefore, the chances and probability of falling prey to one of these attacks is much higher in such a case. And another long-term negative effect of the internet is actually, it's not, you can view it as a positive effect, but I'm going to talk about the negative effect, which is in this case loss of financial assets in case of cyber attacks. So considering how a majority of the population is now starting to adopt, or in some way investing into the digital assets such as cryptocurrency, NFTs, and also digital equities, it's safe to say that in the case of a massive cyber attack on one of these servers, or like one of these services which provide these digital assets, which support these digital assets, can sometimes end up causing massive losses for people who have majority of their financial assets tied up in these digital currencies such as Bitcoin and other digital assets. So the worst case scenario that I can think of is in the case of a war, like a huge severe tension and severe global tension. Countries such as China and Russia have the capability to conduct a state-sponsored attack, on a massive scale, which can bring down entire servers, and therefore lock people, can steal entire amounts of data, and in the process also disrupt these digital currencies, therefore bringing about massive financial losses for people who have the majority of their financial assets tied up in these sorts of investment vehicle. One more side effect of the internet, a long-term effect of the internet, is the increasing adoption of the Internet of Things, or devices which are hooked onto the internet, and therefore have data which is sent back to database systems stored in the cloud. So in any these days, with the development of new technology, especially in embedded systems, more devices, day-to-day devices or household appliances have been integrated with this sort of smart technology, also known as Internet of Things, and this often leads to like channels or conduits for hackers to find entry points and steal data from these devices in case they find the weak points, because no device is perfectly has a perfect cybersecurity defense system, and all they have to do is spend enough time to get past the security measures and access the user's data, some of which can be extremely sensitive, such as their house address or like their income or their social security ID number or something like that. And also the second thing is these days, especially with the introduction of smart cars like Tesla, there has been an increasing integration of computers and other smart technology into cars, and therefore what was previously the manual component of the car is now being controlled by the digital systems, and this can lead to significant risk in the case of a massive cyber attack, as mentioned before, which can be done by nation states, and which can cause severe harm and poses a threat to the well-being and safety of the public. Some of the examples of IoT hacking are the presence of hackable devices, especially vital cardiac devices at St. Jude's. So an FDA conducted a report and it revealed the presence of vulnerabilities in a heart transmission monitor, and yeah, this shows that some people are still not aware of the vulnerabilities that exist in some of these IoT devices that depend on remote access devices. And another second example is hacking of a Jeep SUV by a group of paid researchers, and these researchers were able to take complete control of the vehicle and also veer it off the road into a ditch. And goes to show how people, if this can be conducted on a mass scale, it can cause billions in damages, and also incredible amount of human loss. So conclusion is, although the internet has drastically improved our lives by making our lives much more efficient and giving us access to vast amounts of information at our fingertips, it also has its downsides, which manifest themselves through an ever-increasing potential for scams and cyber attacks. And the more we are becoming dependent on this technology, the more the risks are. The risks just get progressively worse, and the potential for complete disruption in our day-to-day lives because of this increasing adoption of the internet is greater now than ever before. And also, some people compare the invention of the internet as the second greatest invention after the invention of writing, which was done. Which was invented around several millennia ago, and since the inception of the internet is only a couple decades old, we're still yet to see the long-term effects of this, and we can only speculate based on our current experiences and our experiences for the past few decades. Thank you.